Hello everyone, and welcome back again. We're about to take you through a series of 3 different videos. This we've called A, and we're going to be talking now about communication. And most people really don't stand still for a moment and think about what communication is. But in our journey, we've discovered that communication is so many different things.
Yes.
And you can communicate in so many different ways. In this first section, we want to talk about how we communicate. And when you've listened to this, you'll be able to sort of go out into the world, do your thing, and to be able to just listen.
It's a form of unconscious communication.
And generally we call that ego consciousness communication. When people are in ego conscious communication, you'll find that they talk about themselves a lot.
Yes, one way.
One-way
traffic.
One-way traffic, yeah. You'll also find that, for instance, that they love to hear themselves talk.
Yes.
That oftentimes, even though it's your turn to say something, if you watch them, you'll notice that after you said maybe a short sentence or two, they're actually already thinking of something to say about what you're saying, and they're actually missing a part of your communication, your conversation.
Yes, and very often ego communication is talking in the past.
Yeah. And talking in the past, my goodness, it means basically that they're also living in the past.
Yes. Or in the future.
It's possible, also in the future.
They don't live in the now.
And that's important. But let's just step back a moment and let's take a look at that one again. Living in the past. Ooh. And forgive me for saying so, but it certainly has been my experience that the females under us are very, very good at living in the past. And what do I mean by that? Because I don't want a whole bunch of emails complaining and giving me wax upside the head, because this is meant in all from my heart, in love. You girls have got such a beautiful power of memory.
Yes, to talk in the past.
And remembering is really one of your gifts. I mean, you girls have got memories like elephants. You forget nothing. And boy, if we guys have been bad, sometimes we get all of the bad things out of the past, it's thrown back at us again.
And that's not love.
That's not love.
No.
That's living in the past. And that's a detrimental energy and way of communicating with each other. And that's why I shared this example with us. And be careful, because I did say, you females, remember, us guys have a female part of ourselves as well. So it's not just the females that do it, is it, sweetie? No. We do it, all of us do it at some point in time in our journey.
It's just pointing fingers.
Well, we're not quite there yet, because we want to take it now just a little bit into the future. You just mentioned a little bit about the future, and you had some beautiful examples when we were talking a little bit earlier about this.
Talking in
the future, yeah.
Yes. When you talk or share information in the future, it's so far away.
Yeah.
It's not a part of you now. And maybe it doesn't
ever come into fruition, or into creation, or into
That's
manifestation.
what I mean.
Yeah, I felt the way you were going with that one. And that's absolutely true, sweetie, because if you think about it, if you completely and continually putting things into the future using certain words, then guess where they're going to stay?
You wait and wait.
And wait and wait, and they will stay in the future.
Yes.
So this is another way of looking at your communication. How are you communicating outside of yourself and to yourself? And the most important thing about this particular one is that we start to realize that in living in the now, communicating in the now, you're also creating,
God.
manifesting in the now.
Yes, it's
And then you're more in...
conscious.
There you go. You were
communication.
dying to get that one out, weren't
Yes,
you?
I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Living in conscious communication, folks, is just such a beautiful way of living, because if your ego plays up, you're conscious enough to be aware of it.
Yes, it's sharing information to find solutions, to high up.
To lift it up.
Lift
to lift
it up.
yeah.
Your energies.
To lift up your
To,
energies, yeah, to raise your vibrations.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In love.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're going through some really, really wonderful experiences at the moment with that, with, if you will, conscious communication. Although, yeah, we've been talking about this for many years, but we're coming up against it now, or seeing it in front of us now within James Redfield's book. He talks a lot about conscious communication. When you're consciously communicating with each other, there's energy there that's willing to listen, willing to share, willing to live in the now, and willing to just be with each other and listen to each other and share with each other. And in doing so, you're lifting each other up. It's a form of respect, it's a form of allowing, it's a form of joy, knowing, oneness. There's a whole bunch of things here in this conscious communication, and we're going to be going into that one in other videos, so we don't want to go into it really deeply now, but we want to take you into, if you will, another form of communication.
I don't know.
Divine communication.
Oh yes.
How did
Telepathic.
how did you forget that one?
I thought about the telepathic conversation.
And that's
the divine.
oftentimes, that is, of course, telepathic. And we're again having some beautiful, beautiful experiences right now. Not only because of James's book, James Redfield's book, but we're, if you will, reading and working with another beautiful being on this planet. There really is an absolutely amazing, fantastic, magical being. And her books are the books of Anastasia, or Anastasia. I don't know how you pronounce it correctly in English. But we've started to learn to, if you will, to communicate with James and Sally, and with Anastasia and Vladimir telepathically. We're sharing connections with each other, communications with each other through the ethers, in instructions on how they are doing their work, how James and Sally are doing their work with the 12 integrations, and how we're doing our work with the Shambhala oneness, the discovering the true you, the oneness activations. Oh goodness gracious, there is more coming as well, but these are just 3 short examples of how somehow or other all of these have a connection to each other, and they will at some point merge and work with each other. Whether it stays on the etherical levels, I don't know. We don't know. We can't see the future as it's going to unfold. But in this God communication, or divine communication indeed, or higher communication, that's another word for it, isn't it?
Yes.
You are coming from a place of one. You're communicating through your soul, your higher self. And your higher self is always love.
Yes.
Divine communication is always love. There is nothing else but love in this form of communication, and it's a wonderful place to be. And certainly when we are having conversations with each other, there are many, many times when we're talking about our work that we merge beautifully and balance with each other beautifully, that some of the things that just suddenly pop into our minds, it's like we're provided with
insights, wisdom.
It just is an absolutely magical, wonderful experience. So feel what we've shared with you in this short explanation of a part of communication. Listen to the video a few times and try to feel for yourself, and for instance in your own experiences with people around you, whether they have been in ego consciousness, conscious consciousness, or higher divine consciousness. It's wonderful to watch. And of course, remember, please don't be in judgment. Try to leave that out of the picture, if you will. Try to just see them as a being on their path of enlightenment, and just noticing where they are. Oh, we're going to be talking about some more things that we could add to this a little bit later on in the series. For instance, we'll come with the word at a certain point in time. Remember this one, agape. Shall we leave them with a little bit of a surprise to figure that one out?
Yes.
Alright. We don't want to make you all dizzy with too much information, so we'll leave you with these three communication forms for this one video. Thank you again for listening to us.